Welcome to Buy In or Bug Out. I'm the Druth, and we're joined here by Kelly Kellum of the BitLab Academy. How are you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do in this bizarre situation in this world.
That's the point. So on Buy In or Bug Out, we get 3 different scenarios that we're given. Now, you are going to randomly choose a number between 1 to 3, and given your answer, we're going to end up in a situation. We're going to have to talk about what you would do and what I would do to maybe make it a good situation, either buy in, get into it, it looks like an opportunity, dig in, or bug out, get out of town, get out of Dodge, and take for the hills. You're all about that. You're in the BitLab Academy. You're always doing risk assessment.
Hey, ex-military, right? BitLab Academy, we got to figure out what's going on so we can make those decisions.
What you got?
I'm scared to
Don't
look.
Don't look.
I'm scared to look.
What you got?
I say dos.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. CIA Bitcoin hack. The CIA completely hacks all Bitcoin wallets within the United States.
I don't like this already.
This is a problem. This is a big boom. This is a big problem. We have all U.S. wallets drained, even the ones that were obtained or operated with VPNs. The infrastructure in the true large-scale infrastructure of the NSA is shown, and they have everything, right? So other countries still have Bitcoin. You know, I'll get your take on this, but I'd imagine there'd be a big drop in the value of Bitcoin, right? But those other countries would still be trading in it, and the system itself would still be operational outside of the US. And then we also have to keep in mind that escaping the country is going to be very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's nearly impossible, meaning that you would have to essentially avoid highways or being in open water, things like that. It would be a walking event, probably in the dark, to even get a chance to cross the border.
Like leaving Burning Man during the floods.
100%. 100%. So, I know, you're in the BitLab Academy. You're always looking at price action. What do you think would happen to the Bitcoin price if U.S. markets were taken out of the picture?
Barring internet and electricity no longer being a viable thing for humanity, I don't think Bitcoin is going anywhere. It is the best technology for monetary transfer and store value that we've ever had, including the ability to really prop up and support and empower the idea of transparency in all transactions. We don't need that trusted middleman. So
100%.
This honestly could take it somewhere in the $1,000 area. And the reason I say that is based on no technicals. So I'm not saying this is a level. No, this would be catastrophic.
Yeah.
That would absolutely destroy any need to even look at technical analysis because, yes, it's bad that the U.S. would have access to it, but this would change the fundamental idea, at least for some time, and trust about this immutable thing.
Absolutely.
That's my thoughts. What are your thoughts?
I would be very interested in buying the dip, but it's about actually escaping the country to do so. And
that's right. I didn't think about that.
You're right.
Because you have to leave the country to buy it.
Right. It's about getting out of the country quick enough to buy it low, have that, access point or, seed phrase or whatever it is stored and positioned outside of the country and then return back clean as a whistle. All in theory, allegedly, of course, okay? And obviously I'm saying this in response to a rug pull on a scale of millions of Americans and their right to transact being taken away. So I don't feel sorry in saying this, Uncle Sam. If you did that to me, I'd probably go to Bermuda, load it up, bury it in the sand, tell a local, pay him off, and then come back in 3 years in the next bull market and be feeling real nice. But also I do believe that the rest of the world would have a strong belief in Bitcoin, regardless of what the United States does, because it's well known that the United States is trying its hardest at all facets of life to control the velocity of the dollar and to continue being that world reserve currency, right? Bitcoin is its enemy. If we're not embracing it at immediate time frame, even if the government did design it for the immediate time frame and how it looks to the American people, Bitcoin is against the banks.
No, but thinking about all this is in order that the Bitcoin is so secure that, and I cannot remember what the metric is, but it is astronomical. You would need something like 10,000 quantum computers operating to the 10th power times 10. I mean, it would take millions of years at the current speed. Now, the question here is, and we've all seen it. When I was a kid, we had no internet. When I was a kid, we had no cell phones. Okay? The amount of technology evolution and progression that's happened in my lifetime, I was born in the early 80s, till now, obviously that's a huge parabolic growth of technology. Now, quantum computing combined with AI, I think we're going to see an explosion in technology in ways that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
So this does become a little bit more real.
Yeah.
The question is going to be is, how are the security mechanisms and our own personal processes going to develop to help mitigate our risk in all this? Because we need to stop thinking it's more convenient to hold on Coinbase. I love Coinbase,
Right.
but is it more convenient, or are you exposing yourself to this possibility? Because if you are holding in private cold storage with all your seed phrases, nobody knows what, you're doing all the right things. It starts becoming less and less likely for you to be exposed to risk. So
it started to get you thinking, and that just having this mindset of, understanding what that process would be like, or just having the gumption to buy into that level of fear, I think is a good lesson that I've always taken in cryptocurrency, because that's what's done me the best, right? It's kind of moving against the grain. Everyone tells you it's a scam, it's done for. Move forward, fail forward, and you end up on top. So,
question.
What's that?
FTX collapses.
Yeah.
My mother gets on the phone with me.
Okay.
She goes,
So you're gonna get out of Bitcoin now? Now that you see it's a scam?
Yeah.
About 3 months later, we have cascading, not one, but cascading. Some of the biggest banks in history. What do they hold? US dollar. Failing.
And more to come.
I call my mom. I say, are you getting out of the US dollar yet? You see, the US dollar is a scam. Now, these things are not equitable. It's not the same thing.
Right.
Much like if you have the CEO of a car dealership that gets a DUI, it does not mean that everybody that works at that dealership is bad. They're separate things that are somewhat related. It's a product distributor versus a product itself. Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a product. It is a ticket to freedom. It's a ticket to your own sovereignty.
That's right.
If you have the courage to hold it, and if you have the courage to not look for the modern day conveniences of these centralized exchanges. They're absolutely necessary. So my question for you, how do we make it easier from the convenience factors that the everyday populace is used to? Because this is going to be a big impact and effect on how adoption can really be taken on. So what's your thoughts here?
That's a really good question. I think it's going to take a lot of money to make a user-friendly interface for a cold wallet like that. We've seen what Ledger can do. They've gotten pretty close with it. Ledger recently ran into some FUD because they have that sharding of the seed phrases for an option that you can opt into to make your seed phrase available to other parties, right? In my imagination, I think Coinbase would be the company that comes out with that funding with a hardware firm. This is going to have to be a marriage between a hardware firm and a big winner in crypto, either Coinbase or Binance. Binance is Trust Wallet, right? We could see Trust Wallet expand, maybe even into cold storage situations. But it's going to be the private sector that comes up with this innovation. And in the government, it's not the government's job, or historically been, to innovate. It's to regulate. It's the private sector's job and history to innovate, right? But hardware is a very difficult thing for a software company to pull off. We're going to have to see one of the major winners do so.
I mean, I remember when I got my first Ledger a few years ago.
Yeah.
When I got the Ledger, do you remember the movie Enemy of the State?
Will Smith. Yeah.
But how tech it was, and they had the little chip, and they had to hack into it. Like every time that I opened, the first probably 10 times I was trying to use a Ledger, it felt like a separation from convenience. But what is security with convenience? You cannot have security with convenience. So I think we're going to have to do a blending of the convenience of easy access points, but then people that want to keep their stuff safe, similar right now. People, you can have money in the bank, but those people that are trying to protect their assets have their money spread and diversified between
100%.
bonds, between treasuries, between some gold at home, but safes.
Great what you said. Spread out, be decentralized on where your assets are, because if they do rug pull you on your Bitcoin, then you can use your other assets to fund your travel to Guatemala and purchase your Bitcoin and be set from there on that big red candle. So always diversify. That's great advice, even related to this situation. I know it's doomsday. It's not probable, but it is possible. So it's always useful to keep your mind open.
You cannot have a strategy for failure unless you explore what that failure would look like. Just
Boom.
remember that.
Boom. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Kelly. It's great having you on. Check out BitLab Academy every day.
10:15 a.m. Very quick, about 10 minute. It's called Chart Watch Daily Jumpstart, and then the live stream is every day at 11:30 a.m.
Perfect.
Eastern Time. Come check in. We got a wonderful community. We'd love to have you there.
Do it. Hit the like if you love your freedom. And until next time, Drew out.
Adios, muchachos.